Bonjour, I'm Andrew Pryor, and this is Fabulously Delicious, the longest running French food podcast in English. As a MasterChef Australia alumni, French food author, and long-time France-based foodie, I love uncovering the stories that make French cuisine so irresistible. Today, we're getting juicy sweet and a little tart because we're talking about the one and only Cerise de Montmorency. The Cerise de Montmorency belongs to the sour cherry family, a true classic of French orchards, known locally as the gaudrioles or short-tailed cherry. This cultivated variety of Prunus cereus is instantly recognizable for its bright, inviting color, delicate skin, tender flesh, and a slightly tangy, colorless juice that gives it just the right touch of acidity. Whether you bite into one fresh from the tree or enjoy a tart or preserve, it's a small fruit with big personality and a story that stretches back centuries. In French, the word for cherry is cerise, spelled Cerise. The name actually comes from the Latin ceresium, which referred to the cherry tree and its fruit, and passed into Old French as cerise. The Cerise de Montmorency is instantly recognizable by its bright, glossy red skin and tender, juicy flesh that carries just a hint of tartness. These cherries can have a short or long tail, depending on the sub-variety, and their colorless juice adds a subtle zing to any dish. They hail from Montmorency, a charming town just north of Paris, where they've been cultivated for centuries and celebrated as one of France's most iconic sour cherries. Montmorency is a picturesque commune in the Val d'Oise department of Ile-de-France, nestled in the northern suburbs about 15 kilometers north of the center of Paris. Once the historic fief of one of France's oldest noble families. The town has long blended rich heritage with charming residential life. Today it's known for its leafy streets, historic buildings like the Collège Church of Saint Martin, and a beautiful setting on the slopes overlooking the surrounding countryside. A world away from the bustle of the capital, yet still close enough for an easy trip into the city. Montmorency's history stretches back over 1,000 years. Its name was first recorded around 993 AD as Mons Montmorenchians, meaning the estate of the Gallo-Roman landowner, and over time it became the seat of the influential Montmorency family, whose chateau once stood on the rocky promontory above the town. Though the castle or chateau was destroyed during the Hundred Years' War, the family name lived on in French history, and Montmorency retained its noble associations through the centuries. During the turbulent years of the French Revolution, the commune even changed names briefly for political reasons, before finally returning to Montmorency in 1832. Today, Montmorency is a delightful blend of history and modern life. The town hosts annual events that celebrates its charm and local produce, such as Les Naturels, a traditional festival devoted to nature, artisan food, and regional growers that draws visitors each spring. Surrounded by green spaces and the expansive Forêt de Montmorency, it's also a lovely place for walking, markets, and appreciating the slower rhythms of French provincial living. The history of the Montmorency cherry stretches back several centuries, and its reputation as a prized fruit was already well established by the late 17th century. A work from 1690 describes the cherry as large and late, with a particular sweetness and firmness that made it ideal for both eating fresh and for confying. Even though two sub-varieties were noted, one with a long tail and one with a short tail, the long tail variety is considered more esteemed. In the local language, these cherries were called couleurs, a term derived from the Old French word couleur, meaning to flow. The name probably comes from cherries' thin skin and delicate juicy flesh that almost flows when bitten. Generations of growers in Montmorency celebrated this unique characteristic, giving the cherry both a local identity and a special place in the culinary traditions of the area. By the end of the 18th century, the Montmorency Valley had become a major supplier of cherries to Paris, sending 7,000 to 8,000 baskets a day to the city. The cherries from Montmorency, along with those from the hills of Meudon, were especially popular with nobility, prized for their delicate flavour and tender flesh. But with such high demand, the Montmorency cherry was eventually overexploited, and its numbers declined. In the 19th century, the cherry remained a much-loved seasonal treat in Paris. It was so popular that people would rent trees by the hour to eat the cherries straight from their orchards. Cherry picking became a social outing, with Parisians flocking to the orchards to enjoy the fruit at its very freshest. Even with periods of decline, the Montmorency cherry has endured as a symbol of the region and its food heritage. A quick pause, fabulous listeners. What even more French deliciousness? Well, you can join my fabulously delicious Substack, where I share exclusive food finds, restaurant tips, behind the scenes podcast extras, and French stories that you just don't hear on the show. You can subscribe for free or go pay to unlock extra indulgence and help support this podcast. Find the link in the show notes, or you can visit andrewpryorfabulously.com for more information. Come for the croissants, stay for the fabulously delicious Substack newsletter. If this podcast brings, well, just a little bit of French joy into your life, you can support it directly via the link in the show notes for this episode. Your contribution helps keep Fabulously Delicious independent and fuels future episodes, food adventures, and delicious research. Merci infiniment. Your support, it means the world. Today, the Montmorency cherry still exists in its French birthplace, but its cultivation is much more limited than it once was. While national cherry production in France overall runs into the tens of thousands of tons each year, recent estimates put that cherry harvests around 30,000 to 38,000 tons annually, depending on the season. Sour cherries like the Montmorency make up a small slice of that total and are grown mostly in traditional orchard areas such as around Montmorency itself and nearby communes like Saucisson-Montmorency and Saint-Prix. French cherry orchards as a whole have adapted to modern agriculture with improved harvesting and storage methods. But the area planted with sour cherry trees has declined over past decades as growers focus more on sweeter table cherry varieties that dominate domestic markets. The Montmorency cherry didn't stay only in its French homeland though. From Montmorency, the tree was taken to England, and from there, it made its way all across the Atlantic to North America. It's been cultivated in the United States since at least the early 20th century, where growers found that its flavor and productivity suited the climate in northern states, especially in Michigan and other cooler regions. In fact, the Montmorency is by far the most widely planted sour cherry variety in both the US and Canada, accounting for the vast majority of commercial tart cherry production in North America. In the United States, roughly three-quarters of sour cherry acreage is concentrated in Michigan, with smaller plantings in New York, Utah, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. It's become such a staple that events like the National Cherry Festival in Traverse City, Michigan, celebrate the harvest with parades, cherry pies, and community gatherings. Though detailed global export figures just for the Montmorency cherries aren't tracked separately from sour cherries generally, cherries remain a widely traded fruit worldwide, worth billions of dollars in the international trade. In French cuisine, Montmorency cherries are prized for their balance of sweetness and tartness, making them ideal for both traditional and contemporary dishes. Traditionally, they've been used in desserts like tarts, clafoutis, and confitures, which is the French word for jam, for those that don't know, where their delicate flavour and tender flesh shine. The cherries are also cooked down into sauces for savoury dishes, particularly with duck or pork, adding a subtle fruity acidity that complements rich meats. Modern French chefs and home cooks have expanded the uses of Montmorency cherries. incorporating them into drinks, cocktails, and health-focused products like tart cherry juices and concentrates. They're also popular in baked goods, granola, and even chocolate desserts, where their bright acidity cuts through the sweetness beautifully. While the Montmorency cherry can be eaten fresh, its tart flavor means it's most commonly used in processed forms. It's one of the top varieties recommended for preserves because its flavor becomes sweeter with cooking, and it holds its shape well in recipes. The main commercial use is in products like cherry pies, jams, and preserves. Think classic American cherry pie fillings or rich cherry tart jams. A traditional cherry brandy called kirsch can also be made from sour cherries like the Montmorency. In 2023, scientists published the complete sequence genome of the Montmorency cherry, a milestone that opened the door to a deeper understanding of this iconic fruit. By mapping its entire DNA, researchers can study traits like flavor, acidity, disease resistance, and growth patterns in much greater detail. This kind of research could help growers improve cultivation methods, develop more resilient trees, and even enhance the cherry's taste and quality. From its origins in the orchards of Montmorency to its journey across the world, the Montmorency cherry has left a remarkable mark on both history and cuisine. Its bright, tangy flavor has delighted generations, whether enjoyed fresh, baked into tarts, preserved as jams, or transformed into juice and kirsch. Today, it continues to connect us to centuries of tradition, while inspiring chefs and home cooks alike to explore its versatility in modern French cuisine. The Cerise de Montmorency isn't just a fruit, it's a living piece of culinary heritage, carrying the story of a region, its people, and a love for flavor that's truly timeless. Want more fabulously delicious between episodes? Follow me at Andrew Pryor Fabulously on Instagram or Threads and at Fab French Foodie on Blue Sky for bite-sized French food history, delicious facts, behind the scenes moments, and plenty of life in France flavor. And if you want to watch the podcast, not just listen, you can find the full video episodes on YouTube. More food, more stories, more fabulous. Come, join the party. It's tray scrollable. Et voila. That's the end of today's episode of Fabulously Delicious. If this episode made you crave cherries, smile at French history, or dream of wandering the orchards of Montmorency, parfait. If you enjoyed it, leave a review, share it with a fellow food lover, and come say bonjour. I always love hearing from you. And if you like this episode, be sure to check out similar episodes on French food and regional specialties, like our deep dives into Barbarolle rum or the Pimot Espelette. Just search for them on the podcast platform. There's plenty more deliciousness waiting. Until next time, eat well, stay curious, and remember, life is always better with French cherries. And as I always say, whatever you do it fabulously. Merci beaucoup, bon app, et à très bientôt.